Hello there. My name is Chris, and I'm creating this channel to show my experience for gastric sleeve surgery, which I'm looking to get next month. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I live in Reno, Nevada. Um, I'm married. I have three children, and uh, and I've been overweight, very heavy, actually my entire adult life. So, like a lot of heavy people, I've done dieting, um, and I feel like every time you go do a diet, you put more weight on. That's what it seems to be for me, at least. So I'm at a point that I decided I need to move forward with gastric sleeve to get it done, so we can have a more permanent solution than just going back and forth with dieting. Um, what I wanted to create these videos because I think in my as I've been seeing, there's not really a ton of guys out there creating um, content that kind of shows their experience. So I've seen a couple of folks, but I wanted to add my case to the mix in the hope that it might help someone who's considering this kind of surgery and understanding what the experience is like, and kind of showing them at least my case that might help them make the best decision for themselves. Um, also to share some more background too, my wife actually has had this surgery. She's about 3 years in from having gastric sleeve, and my mother has had multiple weight loss surgeries. My mother has not been successful with her weight loss surgeries because generally she's found ways to defeat the mechanism that you're having done. My wife has been very successful though, so I'm really seeing that is very helpful for me to know that it's definitely a very workable solution, I think, and I really want to move forward with this because for myself I it's very frustrating being large. The world's not made for large people. There's things I would like to do that there's restrictions on, and I know in addition to that, the limitations that you have, getting winded for doing simple things. Um, there's my wife and I like to travel, and I want to experience the things that are out there that are worth experiencing. And I being heavy, it's like it's just very constricting. Even just to travel itself, I travel a lot for my work, and even that, it's not. It's just it's everyone knows airline seats are not comfortable for normal people, let alone for someone that's really large. And of course, no one wants to sit next to the large guy. That's certainly not a prize for anybody. So I really, I really want to make a better change. And on my health end, um, I'm very fortunate that I'm not one of those folks with the crazy medication, but I know I'm right on the edge of it happening. At my age, it's the only path forward if I continue this size to have those super severe health issues. So my hope is to address this now, and not have that very short life expectancy that if I continue this size, I know is going to be the case. Um, so I'm definitely committed to getting this done, and I want to share my experience and hope that it helps someone out there with kind of understanding, kind of how it works, what my journey was, in hopes that it helps you. So let me touch on it a bit. So it's June 2020 now, and we're in times of COVID, and I've been doing documented weight loss now for about 6 months. And just to be clear, in my opinion, most surgeons for weight loss surgery are happy to do it, happy to help you, happy to get it done. Really, the big thing for you as a patient to manage is really the insurance companies, because normally insurance companies, first of all, you have to make sure that this if you I'm going to get this I'm going for the sleeve. Um, Make sure that it's a covered service, number one, on your health plan. Um, and I know my former employer did not cover it. My new employer does. So it really varies. Even it's not even by insurer, but by the actual plan that you have. Generally, you can you have your health plan through your employer. Most people do. They have something called summary plan description, and that shows the actual details of your health plan. So it'll show your co-pays, percent you have to pay, covered services, and it's pretty standard across all health plans. I don't know if it's government mandated, which I believe it is, but it'll tell you in there if the service is covered. You'll see it under bariatric surgery generally. There's normally there's like services excluded generally, and then there's services that just it shows you if it's covered or not. So if you're not sure if your plan covers it, of course you could always call the insurer. But the summary plan description is something you want to look at to make sure it's covered. My current employer again does cover it. Yay for me. So with that being said, though, the insurance companies generally have a lot of requirements in order for them to approve the surgery, and it's a pretty pricey surgery. I believe in June 2020, I think what I had read is maybe maybe $30,000 or thereabouts, and I'm sure it varies geographically and by surgeon and all that other stuff. But it's a pricey surgery, and by that I mean most folks wouldn't want to pay it out of pocket because it's very significant. Um, so once you make sure it's covered, your particular insurer will generally have requirements that you have to follow in order for it to get approved. For my particular insurance plan, my new employer that covers it, they needed to have documented weight loss, which is pretty common. So I've been doing this since January, and now we are in June. It's in I believe my final month to have my physician documented weight loss. Basically, you go on a diet and exercise program that your doctor monitors you. So I've been doing PCB visits every month, and generally, just to clarify, um, your surgeon who would do the sleeve will generally have they know the process, they know the insurance companies, and they generally will have an understanding of kind of what the requirements are with the given insurance company, as well as your insurance company obviously will know what they need. So with this, in my case, the surgeon that to do my gastric sleeve, he had certain documentation that the PCP, the primary care physician, would fill out basically every month to document that I am doing kind of like what my vitals are that month, and also what my weight looks like. So they're basically it's so they're keeping a record of this weight loss actually happening, and it's more than the honor system of me saying, oh yeah, I'm dieting and exercising. So it's really to not have that, to have the doctor actually monitor you and show your progress is many times required by the insurance companies, and mine did. So right now, the end of this month, in a few weeks, I'll have my final visit, as I understand, for that physician documented weight loss, and then I can be submitted. There were other things I've already done through the surgeon in January, and generally speaking, most surgeons have a general. There's generally certain steps you have to do before they can submit it to the insurance company. That physician documented weight loss is one of them. So the other steps that I had to do so far is I had to do a upper GI where they check your I'm not gonna say this correctly, your gastrointestinal tract to make sure that there were no issues there. So I had to do that it was a barium swallow that I had to do, and then they had imaging machines to make sure that was good. It was not a big deal. It took honestly, I think it took 15 minutes or so for them to do their imaging, and it's really not procedure-wise. It wasn't really that dissimilar from an X-ray, other than the barium swallow is disgusting, as we all I don't know if folks are familiar, but it's almost like having a liquid chalk. It's not enjoyable. It's not the end of the world. You do it, you move on. Not a big deal, I think. Um, so I had to do that with that upper GI with the barium swallow. Also, in office with the surgeon, I had to do a psychological evaluation and a nutrition counseling session. The psychological evaluation was, in my opinion, very simple. Um, I anyway, it was like maybe an hour and a half or so of some sort of psychological clinician that did some sort of evaluation. It wasn't any big deal. There was a bunch of questions they asked, and um, honestly, I just didn't see it as a big deal. And then there was also a nutrition counseling session, and really, in my opinion, that was more to understand kind of what have you been eating, and to know post op that they're there if you need you need their help. Um, some folks, like I think I mentioned my mother, like they kind of went off the reservation a bit after having their surgeries. Um, Again, other folks like my wife has not and been very successful with it. So I think the nutritional counseling and also the psychological counseling, it's also kind of set up for that post-op in case you need those resources to help you. That's my understanding. So if there's issues in either of those departments, those professionals you have a kind of a relationship with, that you can lean on them should you need to. Um, and then I also had another test for metabolic rate. I don't recall what it's called, but it was some sort of it was a machine that you did some sort of breathing into, and I think it measured. I want to say it measured your, your like your blood gas or something. But bottom line, it was a simple test that was non-invasive. I believe you breathe into a machine and it told you your metabolic rate. Again, not a big deal. I don't believe that was required, but it was more informational. But I did it anyway. It was interesting. I mean, I didn't find any amazing thing there. You always hear sometimes for folks that oh, slow metabolic rate, my thyroid, makes me fat, and you know, wasn't the case with me. I'm sure it's not the case with some, and more likely many, in my opinion. I'm not a clinician, but um, anyway, so I did that test too. So I think I still have to do directly pre-op, do an EKG, um, and I'm sure there's other stuff as well. But really, my main focus at this point, and the kind of reason I'm making these videos too at this point now, is the weight loss, the month by month, is it's interesting, but at least for myself, I kind of feel like this is more where the rubber kind of meets the road. I'm basically at that almost in that pre-op phase. My hope again is with this final physician documented weight loss. Then we have the insurance submittal. I definitely want to share with you folks how that goes and the experience with the insurance company. Um, and then once you have insurance approval, again, the doctors, or at least my understanding, even in these times of COVID, they're pretty easy to get it scheduled and get it done. So um, that is my understanding. So I'm hoping in July to have that, to actually have the cut and get it going. Um, so so right now, I'm not sure if I shared weights, but I started out at 385, was at my top, um, and now with the 6 months into this physician documented weight loss, I've been doing keto, and I am now at 316, which is terrific. I like keto. I think as far as diet goes, this at least for me has been the most successful. Um, I still, of course, my opinion is I have to do the gastric anyway, the sleeve, because my experience with dieting is things work well and then they eventually go the other direction. And I know with the sleeve, you're really effectively putting a hard physical stop in what your eating capabilities. So I think that's a necessity for myself. I know this works. I see my wife 3 years in. So I mean, this is not some temporary 90-day thing. This is permanent, and there's no question about the results. I see the results every single day. I see it walking around, so um, so I'm really excited to move forward with that, and continue on with my life as it should. I think I feel pretty good with where we are, and I want to be able to enjoy these things, and experience life to its fullest. So I'm really excited to have that happen. Um, so my next video I'm planning on doing is, again, to talk about the insurance process once I've had that experience, and again, I really just want to show um, these step by step, and I really I didn't see a lot of videos for guys showing this show, so I want to add kind of my case to the mix, because I don't think there's enough guys documenting their VSG compared to the ladies. So I want to show that experience for other folks, that hopefully it helps them make the best decision for themselves, and at least understand what this process is like. So thank you. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to sharing my next experience with you with the insurance, and to keep moving this along, and taking you along for this journey. Thank you.